Today I'm going to be showing you guys around my 1999 Suzuki SV650, which I will be selling. The previous gauge cluster got messed up, so I replaced it with this Trailtech Vapor unit. So there's the wiring and all that fun stuff in there. And then I had to make a custom bracket for it just out of aluminum, spray painted black. Then while I was doing all that, I installed some turn signals on there. Which I believe that they actually need like the proper diodes. I'm trying to remember exactly what you need, because these flash too fast, because pretty much these bikes of course came with, I believe they're called incandescent bulbs, and switching from those to LEDs, there's less power being drawn from these, so they flash too fast. Then we have a different short exhaust on here. I don't know if this is the stock one. Came in 99. I'm pretty sure that the old ones were longer, so I'm assuming that's aftermarket. Alright, let's get to the cold start. Make sure it's in neutral. So of course give it a little bit of choke. Hasn't been ran in about 2 or 3 weeks. All right, now that I'm on this side of the street, let's ride this bike and talk about it a little more. All right, so another couple things that I did is I flushed the brake fluid front and back. When I originally actually flushed it, it looked like hot sauce. So yeah, it's fun. Super old brake fluid that was in these, like, inside these lines, so yeah, fun stuff. Bike isn't all that loud, so it's like, if you're commuting on the freeway or something, it's a very quiet riding bike. It's not all that loud. Of course, liquid cooled as well. I forgot just how flickable this bike is. Since I've been riding my 05 FC1, and that bike, it's very, very stable through the corners, but it also takes a lot more effort to actually turn. Over flick from side to side, and this thing is just, oh, it's so nice. Let's see if I can get to a curvy road before the sun goes down. Let's see, would I recommend this bike to a beginner? I'm not too sure. I mean, I think a beginner could definitely start on this. It's just, I don't know. As far as like this bike versus like a CBR 600 RR or something, a Super Sport, this thing, it makes its torque faster, or sorry, it makes its power faster than a bike like that. But the thing about those bikes is that they have a lot more power at the top of the rev range. So, I mean, you could start on this, but you'd have to be careful. Of course, respect the bike. Don't do anything too crazy with it. But yeah, this bike is really good. Has really, really good handling. It flicks from side to side. Very smooth. Very nice bike. Gosh, whenever I go to sell these bikes, every single time that I hop back on and actually ride it again, I question why I'm selling it. I'm gonna miss this thing. I love SVs. So the handling, the power is good. don't cost too much. Which, to my knowledge, everywhere that I've looked anyway, this bike is the cheapest SV650 currently in my area anyway. All the other ones are more expensive. Which it might be because maybe they're a little bit cleaner and stuff, but I mean, I don't know. If you want a bike that you just don't have to worry about, like, this thing is perfect. If you drop it or something, who cares? It's not very little investment. Sorry, not paying that much money, so it's like you don't have to worry about really anything happening to it. The motors are bulletproof too. I mean, there are people on the forums that get over 100,000 miles on these motors if they're taken care of well. And when I first got this thing, it didn't shift right, so I went down in there and went on the forum and adjusted the shift rod, which is a little rod that allows the actual clutch to engage and disengage. It pushes against something in there, and there's this little like lock nut attached to this little flathead screw in there, which pretty much you adjust the I believe it's just like the I don't know, it's some shift rod. Anyway, I adjusted that and it shifts fine now, which before it was, whenever it would be at high temperature, then it would be really hard to find neutral, or even when it was cold, which I adjusted that and it makes it so that the bike shifts a lot better. Though when this bike does get warm, it is a little bit hard to find neutral. So that is one thing to note about this bike. But if it's ever hard to do that, then just pull on the clutch, blip the throttle really quick, and then you quickly click it up, put it into second gear. Or if you're able to find neutral, then you're a baller. You get my respect and everybody else's respect. You can shift it up into second gear, do the little blippy thing really quick, and then just barely tap down on the shifter, and then pop into neutral, and of course the neutral light will come on, which just click up, see, boop, and click neutral light, boop, ta-da. Alright, that's gravel, it's sand. Another thing about this motor is that it revs up really high too, which I'm assuming if you're buying this bike you already know that. So I adjusted the display here to read up to 12,000 RPM because it actually redlines at about, I believe, 11 or 11 and a half, around there. So yeah, if you want to go crazy and rev it super high, you can. You'll be aware that that will decrease your motor's life, maybe. And yeah. And that's my shift light. So I put a shift light on here, which you can adjust in the settings and stuff if you want to. Of course, you can look up a video on how this actual gauge cluster works, and if you want to modify anything on it, you can do so. All that fun stuff. Really customize it to the way that you like it. Customize it to your preferences. And this brake lever, it's the old chop special. So yeah. the corners like nothing. So easy to just get around these corners. I believe it's because the SVs, they have shorter wheelbase than most bikes, so it makes it super easy to just flick it over. Like barely, takes like barely any effort at all. Comes a sweeper right here. See one hand, just boom, just like nothing. I'm gonna put my hand back on because frankly it's kind of stupid to do that. And we got a car in front of us. Of course, this bike is carbureted. From what I've heard, the carburetors on these bikes, they were, at the time, the actual carburetors themselves were like very, very good carburetors. Which, apparently, the carburetors in these bikes are actually better than the next generation, the second generation SVs, like the fuel injected systems. Like they put just cheap fuel injection systems in there, which made it so that the throttle was pretty much on off switch. Which I owned a second generation SV650, so I can attest to that. And the way that this bike works, it's very smooth. The throttle feels really good. It's like before, like it would give you like this jerky motion, so it's like you go from that to just smoothly going on. You can do that on this bike. You can just smoothly go on and off throttle. On the other one, it would be like you'd give it a little bit, then just boom, like it would kind of jerk you a little bit. And also, this bike weighs what is it? It has a tad bit less power, from what I've heard, than the second generation, but this bike also weighs less than the second gen by about 10 to 15 pounds, I believe. There's that. That is one thing to note. It's just nice because this bike is so small. At least for me, I'm 6 foot, so a little bit on the taller end. So if you're just sitting straight up, it almost gives the illusion of not even being on a bike. Like if you're looking straight up, like it doesn't even, you pretty much don't see any bike out in front of you, especially because this gauge cluster is so small. Like on the second generation SV, they the gauge cluster is like that. It's like this big round thing that's just right there. It's a very small unit. And the way that the power is actually delivered on this bike too is smoother, which I noticed on the other SV, like you'd crack open the throttle and it would just jerk, then it would go. With this one, it feels smoother the way that the power is delivered. So if I'm right here, then I just boom. Like it's very smooth. It's not, I feel like the second generation SVs, they have a little bit more of a like aggressive type of acceleration. So yeah, it's a nice bike. Just that I have that 05 FC1 now, and I just don't ride this bike as much as I really should be. So yeah, unfortunately, it's time for her to go. I'm gonna miss this thing though. Oh, that's another thing. Those dents weren't caused by me. It's caused by the previous owner. Or, sorry, not the previous owner, but the person that owned it before the previous owner. So apparently the story behind that is there was this girl that pretty much ended up getting the bike to start on, and she decided that this bike was too big for her, had too much power, it was too heavy, and one day she actually dropped it on the right side, which then of course dented the tank. And then after that she decided that she was going to get rid of it just because it was too much for her. So she ended up giving it to the previous owner, which then took the bike, and apparently from what he was saying, he dumped quite a bit of money into the bike just to get it running correctly. Like, he wanted a mechanic to look it over and make sure that everything was running well on the bike. So that's pretty much what happened. Is he had this bike checked out, the carbs inspected, pretty much just made sure that this bike was roadworthy and safe. And then the bike sat for a little bit, and then he decided that he was going to sell it because his girlfriend didn't want him riding bikes anymore. So yeah, so he sold it, and then I ended up getting the bike because I wanted something to ride while my FZ1 was being fixed. Because I was pretty much what happened is there was some guy that ended up. Actually, nah, I'll leave that story for another time. Anyway, I was fixing it up, and I just wanted something to ride in the meantime. And then I had just sold my second generation SV650, and I was like, oh dang, I really want another one because, you know, I love these things. And that's a rabbit. It's a rabbit, I think. And so I went out and bought this thing. Yep, this thing gets up to speed very quickly. Slow down around these corners. Fun, fun, fun. Whew. See, this thing has the beans. It's got the bean. Please don't kill me. Dang, all these animals running across the road. Just trying to end my career. My goodness. There's another one. I guess that's God telling me to slow down. Alright. I'll get off here in a second and do a quick walk around again. Then I'll hop back on the road. Then if anybody's still around to watch the video, go for it. It's a beautiful road out here. this off so you can see it. Yeah, sorry, I think my mic is kind of messed up, so I believe it's probably popping right now, but slow exhaust sound. Yeah, so there she is. Alright, let's get back on the road. And stall. So that's another thing. These first generations, at least with this one, before you could just slowly let the clutch out, then it would just go. With this one, you kind of have to give it a little more gas, and then give it some clutch. So that's one thing to note. And that light is on right now because the temps are high. So that's one of the warning lights. Which, as I continue to ride here, the bike will cool down. So, and that'll turn off. So let's go. And not enough room to get around the car. Oh, that's alright. That's alright. Seeing the light just turned off. So right now, that's showing ambient air right now. That's what it is outside, so 73 degrees. Turn this on, or click that once, the menu screen button. Or sorry, the menu button. It'll show that we are at 146 degrees. And this sensor down here, there's a silver one, a little silver bit that you splice into the coolant hosing. That then transmits the water temperature to the actual gauge cluster itself. So yeah, fun stuff. So you could see exact temp, which is pretty dang cool. Because then you actually know what the actual coolant temperature is. But one issue, from what I've heard, that is not the hottest that the coolant is at. But if you really want to get super accurate readings with this system, then you'd actually have to go and take off the tank and everything. Then you'd have to splice into one of the coolant hoses that actually goes to the comes directly out of the motor, which I just wanted a simple install, so that's why I ended up going with. So yeah, temps are still pretty much plus or minus 10 than what this is reading. It's reading 144. And yeah, set it back to that. And it's good. Beautiful day to be out riding. Sorry, night actually now. So yeah, another thing too, with that headlight thing that I was talking about earlier, that where it actually goes from normal brightness to dim to bright to dim again, and then but yada yada yada. I believe that could be remedied too with a different plug, because I'm pretty sure that that's an aftermarket plug that's actually in there that connects to the actual headlight unit itself, or the headlight, like the plug itself. So yeah, that could be remedied by changing out that, or could even be the actual wiring itself, like the main, like power wire, I guess that's what you call it, positive, that goes to the actual battery plug as well. Like there's like this thick wire that's thicker than all the other ones, which I then tried to resolder, but it seems like I didn't really do too good of a job, because how it was before is it didn't look good at all. So I got it a little bit better, but not that much better than it was before. So yeah, just trying to be up front with all the known issues with this bike, so that everybody knows what's going on. You know, I'm not trying to scam anybody or anything out here. Hate it when people do that. That's what happened with my last bike purchase, and just screwed up. As for valve, what is it, that actual like valve adjustment and everything, I don't know when it was last done on this bike. Which I was talking to the owner and the previous owner, and I think that it was done, but I'm kind of unsure about that, because he didn't really seem super certain. Because he said that he threw a bunch of money on it, so I'm assuming that it was checked, but yeah, I don't know. Also, this bike doesn't backfire too, so the actual carburetor itself is actually tuned really well, which will make some pops here and there, but it's not really often, like at all. So this thing is tuned pretty well. Better than my FZ right now. That thing pops quite a bit. I think it's just running too rich. This one is just right at this elevation anyway. If I just do this, then can't hear any popping. And that is 6th. So yeah, who wants to buy this bike, huh? Spin, spin. Left, right, right, left. That's another thing. I need to get back into doing moto vlogs again. Actually doing proper ones. Just been kind of busy recently. And lazy. But yeah, I mean, I know that there's lots of moto vloggers and stuff out there that make better content, of course. Like, they put a lot of time and everything into their videos, which I don't really put as much time into mine. So of course their quality is going to be better, but I don't know. I'll just throw them out there in case anybody wants to watch them. So I gotta start making some more fun stuff. Been gaming a lot recently. Playing some League of Legends, some Valorant. Bought the Master Chief Collection on the PC. I believe Halo 3 just came out a couple days ago for the Master Chief Collection on the PC. So that's pretty sick, pretty crazy. I mean, think about it. Halo 3 on PC? Whoosh, it's crazy. Never thought we'd see the day. It's nuts. Get through here. Oh yeah, this bike has no low fuel light indicator as well. So you'll just have to actually check the mileage via the, the tripometer, which it's kind of annoying. You kind of have to go in there, then you actually have to reset the mileage back to 0 each time. It's not super bad though. Then another thing too is that immediately what I noticed about this bike is that you're not really sitting inside of it like you are on the second generation, because the tank itself is higher up on the second gen. On the first gen, like, the tank is lower down, so it's the seating position itself feels really nice, which if you're coming off like a sport bike or something, which I don't know, or if you have like a preference, I mean, if you like sitting inside the bike or kind of perched on top of the bike, I don't know, it depends. Like, if you like bikes where it feels like you're sitting on top of the bike, this is the one for you. First generation. Because the second generation, like, the tank is up higher and everything, and then like your legs are kind of more so like inside of it, which with this one you're sitting more so on top of the bike. Alright, on 3. 1, 2, 3. There! Boop! Let's go! As you can see, it gets up to speed quite quick. Quite quick indeed. SV twin motor is just sweet. So yeah, pull off somewhere and say my goodbyes really quick. Alright. Well, there she is. If you guys like this video, like it. If you didn't, dislike it. And yeah, God bless. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, there's the SV. Up for sale now. Alright, see ya. Peace.